Welcome to Talking Comics, where we are bagged, boarded, and pre-recorded. I'm Ryan.
I'm Sean.
Thank you guys for tuning in once again. We're not going to run too long, or we're going to try not to run too long today. But we do have some stuff to talk about, some good stuff. New-ish. So, how do you want to kick this off?
I got some breaking news.
Go for it.
Let me ask you something. Whether it be a sporting event, a concert, anything like that. You ever always hear the tales of large gatherings of people?
Mm-hmm.
And there's always some crap that breaks out, fights, some sort of violence or anything. You ever heard anything about Comic-Cons?
I know someone that was accosted by a guy dressed as Ben Grimm.
That's hearsay. It's purely speculation. But you never really hear anything about that. I mean, I've told the story of the religious fanatics and the infamous guy dressed as Bender. Mm-hmm. God hates everything and then down with humans. And then oh yeah, there you go. There was an incident.
Oh.
Unfortunately, not with fans, but with actual celebrities.
What?
Yeah. Over Comic-Con in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay, this just happened, I heard, a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Sam Jones, who played the old Flash Gordon movie.
Yeah.
And he was recently, I think people would be more familiar with him in Ted.
Yeah, as Flash Gordon. as himself.
Yeah, as himself. And Lou Ferrigno. My man Lou.
What?
Both of them are, let's just put it this way, they're closer to 70 than we are. They're both in better shape than we are.
That's for sure.
And they're both just mountain of men. 6'5". Details are pretty sketchy. I mean, we don't know, nobody knows what happened, but they had a booth next to each other. And there were some words spouted out. And Lou Ferrigno got up out of his chair. You're testing me. You're testing me. And then Sam Jones stood up, and they were face to face. And there was some pushing and finger pushing in the chest.
Yeah.
And voices were raised. Okay.
That was just so Lou could hear.
Fair enough. I dare you to say that to his face.
Fuck no.
There was
awesome.
this gentleman, and his name was Darren Clements.
All right.
Who was cosplaying, who was, bought a ticket, he was there, and he was in line, and witnessed it. There was tons of people.
Yeah.
But he stood between those two. Got out of line. I mean, well, he was close. Maybe he was the next person up or whatever when this all broke out. And let's see. Let's see if I get the quotes right. He said, "You two need to knock it off. They were supposed to be here for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's a very large crowd. You are beloved worldwide to this day. Everybody paid their money to see you. Look at your lines. Knock it off. Act as grown-ups. You're here for the fans." Mr. Clements stands all of 5'7", and he was dressed as Diablo from the Suicide Squad. And of course, in this day and age, what does everybody have at the ready?
Camera.
There you go. Okay, there's one picture. Look, there he is getting between them. Look at him. And then he diffused the situation
and got a picture.
And he got photo ops.
Bravo,
bravo, Mr. Clements, bravo.
Hats off to you. Also, I like your haircut.
Just take a little off the top. Well, I don't have a choice.
No, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
But it's just odd stuff like that, You never hear anything going down at Comic-Cons or anything, And it had to be the celebrities. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to know what happened between those two.
If I had to guess, I'd assume it's they were arguing over which character is more relevant today. We all know who's more relevant.
They're both in my heart.
You old bastard. They're closer to 70 than you, but not by much.
I knew. I was waiting for that. So yeah, that's something. What do you got?
I'm just imagining this little British man,
right?
just standing in between them. That's crazy.
He's like, "Damn it! All I want is an autograph, please. I got to pay this, so I paid my ticket. But you guys, none of that." Well, Mr. Clemens, you turned us around. We see. Since you put it that way, we're on your side. All right, never mind. Why are we fighting again? Alzheimer's kicks in.
All right. I want to talk about a little book I read. A little Marvel book. I know last time I said next time we'd be talking about DC, but I got my hands on this gem and was so pleasantly surprised that I just had to talk about it on the next episode. All right. Civil War 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
I was very pleasantly surprised. Because in the last one we did, I said Marvel hadn't been doing much in comics that was good. And yeah. I take it back. I recently put in an order for 2 books from Sean, one of which was Civil War 2, and the other, my Everest. I could never. It kept dodging me like someone that owed me money. Old Man Logan.
That was one of the books that you hesitated the one time, and somebody else came in and bought it out from under you.
And then you got more copies in, and before I even made it in, someone bought them from under me.
Yeah, that's. I can't keep that on the shelf. Man.
It's good. It's worth it, and depending on how much time we might talk about Logan a little bit. Because I actually finally saw the movie. Thank you, Sean. Uh-huh. But yeah, Civil War 2. So good. There's much higher stakes in this one than the what I can only equivalent to a pissing contest of Civil War 1. Like, yes, the superpower registration was a big deal. Don't get me wrong. But this is... It's much higher stakes, and it goes a lot deeper. Maybe a little bit deeper. I mean, the more I think about it, that whole Registration Act was kind of a whole messed up deal.
Victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
This one, it's definitely 2 different stories. Like, how do we top the first Civil War?
Yeah.
Very rarely do sequels surpass, or I wouldn't say surpass, but on par.
Yeah.
And this one, like you said, because we talked about it before, not really too much that makes me stand up and be like, "Ooh, Marvel rocks." Because it's this a gem.
And we've kind of had our eye on it, but not in it since the announcement of Civil War 2 started. Like, we were like, "Oh, that might be interesting," and we kept you a little bit more than me because you're a little bit closer to the...
But at the same time, that was a year ago, Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
And that still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But that's a whole nother story.
But, so instead of it being about, registration of everyone's superpowers and all that, it's about this Inhuman boy. He just turned into an Inhuman. He didn't even know he had the gene... And he was just there during, what is it called, the Genesis or whatever?
Yeah.
And, oh shit, I'm an Inhuman. And he comes out and he's got these powers. He doesn't understand. He's scared. And his power is that he can see the future. I mean, we've talked a little about this in the past.
We talked about it before, yeah. Like last year, because we got our hands on the Free Comic Book Day one. We were kind of talking about that. But with this one, just on a side note, I noticed how they're implementing more of the TV and movies into the comics and vice versa.
Yes.
Because before with the Inhumans, for those uninitiated, you used to have to pass through this chrysalis cube. And you would go through and you were on the planet and the royal family, with the younglings and everything. and then there was the one guy who would deem he would just smell you. And they wrote him into the his name escapes me right now.
Yeah,
they wrote him into the show for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And because they're heavily doing the Inhumans, and if you were worthy, then you would go on and you'd be trained and nurtured and here deal with your powers and what have you. If not, he would take you out like before you could do anything.
Yeah, that was a big arc of the show.
In this book, they're using the mist, the Terrigen mist.
Yeah, and it's kind of like
on the show.
And in the book, because I'm not really all that familiar with Inhumans and whatnot.
I love Inhumans.
But I can only assume that their planet is no good anymore because they now live on Earth. Like the whole royal family lives on Earth now.
I don't know.
Yeah,
lately,
but the Terrigen mist, the Genesis, is like now on Earth's in the 616 is like a natural occurring weather phenomenon.
Yeah,
is what I can only equate it to. So like every year or two or whatever, it happens randomly in different parts of the world, and whoever gets swept up in it, whether they be inhuman or not, they're there, and they'll get transformed if they have the gene. So I thought that was really cool. I do like that they talk a little bit about the original Civil War.
Yeah,
because there's this panel where Tony's like, I don't want to go to war with Captain Marvel. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to fight my friends again, but I will.
Even that little those panels with dialogue with him and Cap.
It didn't go so well for us the last time.
Right.
So he was basically, that was his way of saying, please be on my side with this, Steve.
It was actually to the point where in this one, Tony Stark was the voice of reason?
Sort of. So there's a bigger morality in bigger moral question in this. And the thing is, Captain Marvel is told that Thanos is going to attack the Earth by the Inhumans. They're like, this is our new Inhuman guy. He can see the future. He said Thanos is going to attack here at this time. And no wait, that's not how he was introduced. He was introduced when I think it was.
Wait, who are you talking about?
The Ulysses Kane is the new Inhuman.
Right.
There was some other galactic force that was attacking the Earth, and they got the information from the Inhumans.
It was what do you call them? Galactus. Terrestrial.
Yes, that's it.
A terrestrial.
And they were all there, and they were all prepared. And they're like, so where did we get this information from? They were at, the celebration party because it was they stopped.
Stark loves those high five parties.
Yeah, they stopped another invasion, and that's when they introduced Ulysses. And Stark's like, how much do we know about his powers? How does it work? So they get Jean Grey in there to read his mind and show everyone else through a telepathic link what it's like in there, but it doesn't work for some reason.
Because he's locked. You can't. There's no they telepaths.
They can't get in there. And she can go in there, but it's just a black room of him and her.
Yeah.
And this puts Stark on edge. And as he hears, so you see the future. Is the future? Are these possible futures? What's going on? Is your emotional state gonna affect you reading it, seeing it? But Captain Marvel, she is on that white on rice. She's like, oh, he can see the future. Sign him up.
Very one-dimensional
Uncle
thinking.
Sam wants you.
Exactly. So she's basically Stark in the first Civil War at the time.
And so that's when they get the information that Thanos is going to attack. And so she was hooking up with War Machine at the time.
They were married.
They were married?
Yeah.
Because the way they made it sound was like they had a rocky relationship, like an on again, off again.
They were married.
Thing. Huh.
Yeah, they got married.
Cool.
Which I didn't know. I had to go back and wait, what?
we don't really know all the current happenings of Marvel. They have not reset their continuity in a long time.
It's so hard to, sometimes just to keep up.
So they ambush Thanos. Like he doesn't know they know he's coming. He's confused. Why are you here? How'd you know I was coming? And they, fight ensues. At first they have the upper hand, but then just as they're about to wrap things up, he gets a couple of lucky hits. He hits War Machine, who wasn't even supposed to be there that day.
He volunteered.
Yeah, he was
just
like,
happened
"Oh
to be
yeah,
there."
babe, I'll do you this favor if you do the freaky stuff for me later." He didn't say that, but I'm assuming there was a mental contract for him.
Folks, Ryan's doing a rewrite, and I approve.
This is Max Comics.
Yeah, he's turned it into a Max comic.
And a couple of the other young ones were there. Nova, I think, was there. She-Hulk was there.
Mm-hmm.
But so War Machine's flying at Thanos, and Thanos kicks him or shoots him with something. I can't remember exactly. And he gets messed up, and he also shoots a rocket that hits She-Hulk and really messes her up too.
Yeah.
War Machine dies.
Mm-hmm.
And She-Hulk is put into a vegetative state, near death.
She flatlined.
Yeah, she flatlined.
Yeah.
And they didn't think she was going to make it.
Because you go back there was a podcast a year ago that when we were doing, I'm like, oh shit, Rhodes and She-Hulk, they're dead. Because that's as far as I read.
Yeah.
I thought she died
Yeah.
at the time.
And Rhodey dying is what it set Stark off. He got all in Captain Marvel's face, yelling at her he wasn't even supposed to be there. He's not a part of your team.
Oh yeah, I like to say passionate Stark.
Yeah, and he then proceeds to kidnap Ulysses Kane. He invades. So
I was going to say, don't leave that part out.
The Inhumans have a embassy in New York. It's basically a chunk of their planet that they drop down into Central Park.
Like their own United Nations.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And that's where they live with Beast, who is with them now.
He's their
That guy cannot pick a side.
Yeah.
I'm an X-Man. I'm an Avenger. I'm Inhuman.
Hank McCoy, that's the whole... He's very Dalai Lama type thing, for everybody.
Yeah.
So
Stark kidnaps Ulysses and basically to some of the Inhumans, the more pure-hearted, he just declared war on us. Except Medusa, she's like, well, he kind of declared war on us. Let's get the facts first. But her underlings are like, no, we're going to war.
Well, she's the queen.
Yeah, she has to think diplomatically.
Karnak is the the militant one.
Yeah. And so Stark begins to run some tests, try and figure out, scans his brain and whatnot, tortures him just a little bit, just a little friendly torture, amongst friends.
I love that. You caught that humor?
Yeah.
That?
And gets a scan of his brain. The Inhumans and Ultimates, that's what Captain Marvel calls her team.
The Ultimates, yeah.
Come and, get Ulysses, and the situation didn't get too out of hand, luckily, in that instant. But so Stark did end up getting, but at the same time, as they were rescuing him, he had another vision, a more powerful vision, that made everyone in the room see Hulk going on a rampage and killing everybody.
So, folks, if you're following along, listening to Ryan right now, this Ulysses Inhuman, he became an Inhuman through the Terrigen Mist, but then he's evolving himself as far as his powers go.
Yeah.
He's getting stronger and more evolved. And he doesn't know what's going on either.
Yeah,
So,
he's new.
Yeah.
He's literally been an Inhuman for a month.
He hasn't even passed his probationary period. But we'll get to that.
And Stark says, we don't know for a fact this is going to happen. It's a possibility. I am a futurist. I do not believe in one exact future.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I ever heard that terminology of futurist.
Well, he's also a scientist.
Yes.
So
Just add ist onto the end of,
Ist.
end of anything, and Tony Stark is that.
I'm biting my tongue right now. We'll keep this PG.
So he convinces Captain Marvel to not go in guns blazing, that they need to go and talk to Bruce. Talk to him. Ask. See how he's doing.
Nicely.
As nicely as possible.
Now, at this point, it's been over a year since there's been a quote-unquote incident.
Yes.
Yes.
That he can remember.
Right. That's like
That was part of the whole thing. He shows up and they're like, well, there's this Inhuman, right? And like he doesn't know. He's like, wait, it's been a year since I had an incident. Right? It's been right?
I know. I was reading those panels. I thought I was talking to my wife after a gallon of vodka. Wait, what? What happened? But yeah, no, it was great.
And they're like, no, there hasn't been an incident, but they try to explain it, and they realize he's been doing tests on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Some sketchy tests with gamma radiation.
Over the years, he's always done that, though.
Yeah.
To be fair
Yeah.
to the character, I mean,
Yeah.
back and forth. When he gets alone time, what do you think he's doing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a surprise.
So,
But I'm sure you're getting there. The surprise was...
yeah. And he's getting kind of angry at their accusations and whatnot. And he's yelling, and he says, you don't like me when I'm angry.
He did say that.
And just then, an arrow comes out of the trees, hits him right in the eye, and kills him.
Kills Banner.
Before he hulks out.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, anybody who's read the Hulk knows over the years, he doesn't have to be angry. He could be, threatened. He could be scared. He could be aroused. Any sort of...
His cholesterol could just be too high.
Exactly.
If his blood pressure gets up just too much.
So forget the Hulk. Just Bruce Banner himself is probably the perfectly healthy human being.
Yeah.
And perfectly balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Out of fear of his very
Yeah.
existence.
I do sit-ups and push-ups every morning.
Tai Chi.
I meditate for like 6 hours a day.
24 if I could. But yeah.
But I do 24, but I need all this time to experiment on myself. And and everyone gets on top of Hawkeye in that instant.
Oh yeah.
Like, why did you do that? He was perfectly fine. He's like, no, you guys didn't see what I saw. He was about to change. Because he claims that he has very good... One of the reasons he shoots every shot he gets is because he can see everything.
That's
perfectly
like his
clear.
mutant power.
Yeah. So...
But he's not... I mean, Hawkeye's not a mutant or anything like that,
Not
right?
technically.
That's just his thing. Yeah.
And that's when they're like, why did you do that? And he says, because Bruce asked me to. And they're all so confused. And then it shows a couple of panels of him and Bruce Banner in a bar. And he's like, I'm asking you to do this. As a friend, as a colleague, and because you're the only one I know that could probably live with it.
That's what... I love that character so much, man. Is because it's like Bruce Banner, as the character, will go when he's in his right mind. Mm-hmm. And he's like the king of contingency plans.
Yeah.
He's the plan B scientist. Because he can't control plan A.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be me.
Yeah, waking up.
Actually, I want to be me. I don't want to be him.
Waking up, not knowing where you've been, the taste of blood in your mouth.
Yeah, city flattened.
Yeah. One really bad night, and he could literally split the earth in half.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave Hawkeye a special chemical that was turned into an arrowhead, that could kill him.
That he...
Without... Yeah,
Banner
made it.
Yeah.
and it would kill him without turning him into the Hulk. Because like in the Avengers movie, he's like, I've tried to kill myself. I put a gun in my mouth and pulled the trigger, and the other guy spit him out.
Yep.
I loved that scene.
That was great. That was a
Spot on actor choice for the Hulk movie.
underrated. Yeah, that was. Anyway, we're off
Yeah.
topic here.
We do that from time to time.
We do.
And so then there's a trial and that's when they're explaining what happened, and Hawkeye explains why he did it, and
He told the truth.
yeah. So everything's like, it's chaos.
You know what was awesome
Wait,
though?
was it after? I think was it right after? No, can't remember.
Which
I'll
one?
get to that. The Spider-Man.
Oh no, that was after. But you know what I loved about? I don't know if you noticed it, because like how they weave. We were talking about like the Terrigen Mist and everything. How they weave the TV shows and the movies in with the comics now.
Yeah.
Remember how many people were shitting on Hawkeye as being like a lame character, and then they made after the trial. It's like he's found not guilty, and there's like everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the most famous Avenger.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Hawkeye.
So at the trial, everyone they were like, he's gonna get sentenced life in prison. He killed a superhero / monster.
Yeah.
There was such mixed feelings through everyone in the courtroom, everyone in the world. They're like, he did the world a favor, and other people were like, yeah, but he was the Hulk was an Avenger. He did save our lives.
Who was his attorney?
Uh,
Matt Murdock, right? Was it Murdock?
I think.
Was on the case.
Yeah, I don't remember if he was a prosecutor or defense attorney.
Murdoch's always a defense attorney.
But in semi-recent years, he did become New York head prosecutor.
Yeah. But that's when Matt Murdock showed up, though.
Yeah, that was the only time we saw Murdoch.
Yeah, we never saw him in the suit or anything.
Yeah.
Like that, but
Yeah, I can't remember if he was defending or...
oh, you saw, what's her name? Jennifer, right at the get-go. She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
that was like a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt Murdock showed up at the Hawkeye thing.
Yeah, he was there. I can't remember to what capacity.
Right.
He was one of the attorneys in the room. Anyways, on a unsuspected verdict, they said not guilty. And Hawkeye became world famous and loved in his goofy outfit with that goofy Hawkeye mask.
But he's not rocking that no more.
Yeah.
And a lot of people...
that's the picture they used.
But that was the thing. They used the percentage thing. It's like the majority of the citizens were glad that the Hulk was gone.
Yeah.
You know, they're everybody's afraid of the Hulk.
Mm-hmm. And it was on national news.
And then there was the sympathy, you know. Okay, yeah, we're aware of the Hulk's existence and Dr. Banner and everything at this point. And he told his story. He told the truth. There was no, chicanery or anything like that. And they're like, okay, so you got the people who are afraid of the Hulk relieved. Mm-hmm. And then you got the people who are like, oh, okay. You kind of did a mercy killing.
Yeah.
The sympathy vote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, he was totally scot-free. Which didn't sit well with...
gosh, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, they didn't like the Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Marvel and all them.
Yeah, people were. It was crazy scene. Hawkeye wasn't in it much after that. He kind of went into hiding.
No, I take that back. No, Stark.
Yeah,
because now he's lost 2 of his friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was not taking it well.
Yeah.
He lost his best friend and his best colleague / friend.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
When Stark's having trouble with something, one of the people he goes to is Bruce Banner.
Oh.
When he's having some...
The only guy he respects and is on his level.
Yeah.
You know?
And, so, he's having a complete mental breakdown. Stark is.
Pretty much.
And around this time is when he gets the results from the brain scan.
That's right.
And he's He shows it to everybody, Danvers included. These are not exact futures. These are possible futures. His brain has basically become a calculating computer that is calculating the odds of these things happening.
Mm-hmm.
He is not going to get them right 100% of the time. We've been lucky. And Danvers basically shrugs it off and says he's an asset that we are going to use to save the planet. We're going to stop invasions and natural disasters with his power. And around this time, the kid starts getting some stuff wrong. Or so they make us believe. I mean, this is only volume 1.
Right.
We don't know that much, but like they capture a chick who's like a lawyer or something, or a secretary, and they confiscate her briefcase and take her to SHIELD headquarters.
That's right.
And they're like, "We know you're a Hydra agent. Just tell us. You're going to prison for the rest of your life."
When we're done with this, I could explain that scene right there.
And she's like, "No, I love America. I don't." And she's, saying like, and her briefcase was empty. I mean, they were using that as evidence of her. Well, why would you have an empty briefcase unless you were a double agent?
A Hydra agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to like Stark, he's like, that doesn't make sense. Your logic doesn't really make sense on this. And shortly thereafter, I don't remember exactly in the timeline when it happens. Shortly thereafter, they start to fight it out. Again, I can't remember over what.
Oh, the big fight? The first one?
Yeah.
The equivalent to the movie airport scene? That's when Stark showed up, and they showed up. The Inhumans, because you missed the part where he invaded, and the Inhumans wanted their guy back, and so he broke protocol. He breached, the
I remember I said that
peace thing. Oh yeah, but then at the same time, he came in and with the girl, saved her. Remember, and did that flash thing.
Yeah.
And that's when they started, but they caught him this time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he's like, "Oh, we got you outgunned. Oh, do you?" And then that's when all Guardians.
Yeah, he was rescuing
Yeah.
So I was on track.
Yeah.
He was rescuing the quote unquote Hydra agent from being wrongly and unlawfully arrested. But then again, SHIELD doesn't really follow the laws all that much.
She's like, "What did I do?"
Yeah, he rescues her, and they start to fight it out.
Yes.
And in the middle of the fight, so they got all their buddies. Stark's got a whole gang behind him, mostly a lot of the younger ones, because they don't. I guess in a way, they're kind of idealizing Stark in a similar way as Peter Parker did in the Civil War movie.
It's funny you mentioned that. Who's on Stark's team?
Miles Morales, Spider-Man. And Danvers has all the SHIELD agents,
Guardians,
all the Ultimates, and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my god!
And they were just doing her a favor. I mean, the logic behind them helping her, I was really surprised to see that. But I get it. They are kind of in the universe guarding business, so the idea of someone that can see the future is ideal for them in their intergalactic battles.
Totally.
So they're duking it out, and in the middle of that, Ulysses has another vision of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, killing Captain America.
On the stairs of the Capitol building.
Yes. He killed America in the American Capitol. But those of you who have listened to us for a long time, in this timeline what Captain America is going to do or is doing. So as I'm reading this, I'm like, just let it happen.
I'll get that's what I'm saying. I'll get to that as soon as we get to the.
Everyone's shocked. Stark's like, "Don't do it, Danvers," and she's like, "I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna talk to him." And Miles is freaking out. Like he pulls up his mask because he couldn't breathe, and Cap's like, "Both of you, stay the fuck back."
Cap's the voice of reason, as usual.
Yeah,
You know?
even though he's a dirty, rotten traitor.
He's like, well, hold on, we'll get there.
I know.
Hey, kid, why'd you pull your mask up? I couldn't breathe. Pull it back down. You're all right.
Yeah,
I love you, Cap.
pull it back down.
Yeah.
You're a symbol. Like he was basically, you're a symbol of
Yeah.
justice. You can't.
Yeah. And another one, Miles Morales, is like everybody idolizes Cap, man. Captain America is the guy. That's why they freaked out, because at this point, up until everything you've been saying, Cap's kind of been in the background.
Yeah.
Now they bring him in. You know, you see him on panels and everything, and when he goes, I could never do that. I'm like, and Cap's like, I know. And he goes, what do you want to do? I just want to go home.
Yeah. He's
Then
like,
go
"All right,
home."
Go home.
Yeah.
Thor, give him a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. The goddess of thunder, give him a ride.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everybody just didn't, at that moment, just in that panel, everyone's like, Cap's word is law.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
like,
much.
Cap's the
he
man.
kind of like helped cement himself as like, a good guy in that moment.
It's like, I've been a background character through half this story so far now.
Time to come up front.
Yeah.
And at this time, because Miles is one of the young guys, so like all the other young kids, all the other young heroes are like, they're his friends at this point. They're his partners. So like the new young Miss Marvel,
Yes.
Nova, Ironheart.
Yes. I was going to ask you.
She's barely a character at this point.
Bro, keep going.
The
I was going to ask you, I'm like,
the fight's over
Nova.
at this point. People go to their separate bases. They're in Stark's little hidden base.
the bell has rung. Go to your quarters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And like all the kids like sneak out to go check on Miles, make sure he's all right.
I do remember that. Remember? And they knew what they
Yeah.
were doing. They're like, just let them go. We know where they're going.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, and Stark's like, I can't tell if I'm mad at them or proud of them.
I love that. I love that line.
And I'm gonna gloss over a little here and there, because we've already gone like a half hour of just me talking and talking.
Dude, this is it. This is the podcast.
What do you expect from a podcast?
This is it.
So Danvers is like, we gotta go. We're not capturing him. I don't know if she was trying to convince us, the readers, her ultimate teammates, or herself.
Exactly.
We're not capturing him. We're just gonna go talk to him. So she's trying to track him down. She has all of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Assets looking for him. And he shows up in D.C. on the steps. And, like, the police show up.
Not DC Comics.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. Kick Superman's ass again.
I know, right?
Oh, sorry. Wrong Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's on the roof, chilling.
Like, yeah, well, I glossed over a little bit. Like, he decided to go to D.C. and prove that he wasn't going to do that. I mean, for me personally, I would have just stayed at home to prove I wasn't going to do that.
It's that inner struggle, just like every other character in this story is going through.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I love Cap. I can never do that. I got to prove to him, everybody, and myself that no.
Yeah.
You know, this is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so he's on the steps of the Capitol building. Cops are pointing their guns, like, take off the mask. He's like, I can't do that, secret identities and all.
That was awesome. I know, he's like, he puts his hands up and he's like, I'm not taking the mask off.
I'll go with you, but I'm not taking the mask off.
And you as well as I know that he could taking all the cops.
Yeah.
But he doesn't,
And that's when Shield, locks on his location. They tell the cops to back off, and as like every other cop is about to open fire, the sergeant or lieutenant, it's like, yeah, everyone leave.
Because Carol Danvers,
she
called him
ordered
off.
it in to call him off, and they
because technically Captain America is on Stark's side.
Yeah.
But he conversed with Carol Danvers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's the one that called off the cops. He's like, let me go talk to him. Let me
Yeah.
go talk to the kid,
Mm-hmm.
It was... I knew when I was reading that book, it was like, it's going to probably have me roll a tear where it's like the original Civil War with him and Spider-Man and the whole, and then in the movies where it's like, where are you from, kid? It's like,
Queens.
Brooklyn. I'm like, oh! And they didn't disappoint, man. It was great.
And so, like, Cap, what are you doing here? I just wanted to prove that I wouldn't do it. I had to come here.
Like,
prove it.
I love you, Cap. It's like, you're the man.
And he's like, you shouldn't have came here, man. You should have just stayed at home.
You just go home.
And at that time is when Carol comes and is going to arrest him. I can't even describe. There's no other word. She's going to arrest him.
Yeah.
Under suspicion of murder.
Uh-huh.
But
it turned into Minority Report.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Spielberg.
It was exactly like the Minority Report.
Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength on that.
Right? And Cap's, again, the voice of reason. He's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, we're talking. Back off.
Yeah.
He's telling everybody back off and they're doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And blah, blah, blah.
And around that time, a force field is put around Spider-Man. Miles Morales.
Yep.
And that's when Stark comes beaming out of the sky in the Hulkbuster to kick some Danvers ass.
He did rock the Hulkbuster for Carol Danvers, which I thought was
poetic justice.
A sign of respect also, because Carol Danvers is not a customer to be fucked with.
Mm-hmm. And then they show as another big fight is breaking out now in the United States Capitol.
Yes.
That's a big no-no.
I know, right?
The whole reason that they sent Cap in there to talk to him was to avoid a giant fight in the United States Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
Then they show a couple of panels of the Inhuman base.
Well, the Inhumans have showed up.
They've been
they
popping
bombed
up
in and out.
Yeah.
Karnak was pissed when
Stark he destroyed Stark Tower.
Oh, yeah.
I must have
and then they've showed up again. They're like, basically just to bomb in and say, can you guys get your shit together?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, they bomb in. Okay, you're not ready yet. We're out.
And at this time, Ulysses is having another vision or something.
He has gone. Think of Xavier in Cerebro.
Yeah, he was having
need Cerebro.
Yes, thank you.
And he jumped.
Yeah,
to
the Battle World. I think that's what they called it.
Old Man Logan.
Yeah. Which was great because right before I read that, I had read Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, are you the Wolverine?" He's like, "Yeah, who are you, kid?" What happened? Where am I? I think it's Jersey.
I love it. I know it's just like it looks like Tatooine from Star Wars, and he's all shitty to him. It's like, who are you?
What happened? They went to war. They shouldn't have fought. I can't remember the lines exactly.
He goes, he's all, it never should have happened. Well, who's at fault? And do you remember what Logan said?
Stark
Stark
never should have went to war.
Never should have went there. Yep. Never should have done it.
Yeah.
And there's like, done what? And remember, he
gets pulled back
he got
out.
pulled back out. Done what? Done what?
And that,
Wolverine's all shitty to him and everything. He's like,
I really... So, that reminds me. Since the last Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, whatever they called it, that battle world, of all the Marvel universes, they were turned into one planet. There was a Secret Invasion, so now all of the other multiverses pretty much are gone. Destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got Miles Morales and some of the other characters. Like, that's why we have multiples of certain characters and whatnot. Yeah. And that's why, as the original Wolverine died, Old Man Logan got transferred into the 616. Mm-hmm. So he's actually there, which I thought was really cool since I had just started reading Old Man Logan.
When we get to the end of this Civil War 2, I've got a few puzzle pieces that I can fill in that's going to make a lot of sense.
Oh, cool.
To you, so...
So...
This has definitely turned into the Civil War II Talking Comics podcast.
Yeah, we're probably not going to talk about much else on this one.
Nope, because I got some bombshells to drop when we're done with this.
So...
Where the hell were we?
The big fight in the Capitol.
Oh, and then... No. And then Ulysses got sucked out when he talked to...
Yeah, right when he was getting his answer.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need to go to them. We need to find them.
Logan said. Said what? Speak to your queen. Remember that?
Yeah. and
then that's when they plucked him to like, okay, we got to go to that.
Yeah.
These guys are bullshitting around.
And Cap and Captain Marvel and Iron Man are like having like a blaster battle of some kind.
Oh, that's right. I'd love to see that on the big screen, by the way.
Yeah. And they're messing each other up. Everyone's fighting. The whole teams are fighting each other again. And like, was it a big explosion?
It was the equivalent to the immovable force meets the immovable object.
Yeah.
And it's just boom. Yeah.
Mjolnir meets Cap's shield.
Pretty much. And I was thinking, when I first read that, shrapnel pierces Cap, and then Miles Morales is holding him.
That's kind of
what I was thinking. But do you remember what happened?
Iron Man's Hulkbuster suit gets destroyed with him in it, and he's put into a coma.
Yes.
Like, barely alive. And then they cut forward to, I think it was around that time that Ulysses, something very, very strange happened. Something I did not expect or see coming. He ascended. Mm-hmm. And they didn't really explain to what. The only thing I could assume from this weird figure they had in the background is that he wasn't like some inhuman. He was like a watcher or something. Because that's the way they made it seem. Like,
that's the thing. You saw that, like I said, from the Terrigen Mist to this, and then Jean Grey can't penetrate his mind. He's evolving. Like he could be even. He could surpass like Medusa and Black Bolt as like being the Inhuman.
Yeah,
we just don't know.
Because like they had this big.
I think it's great. It's great writing.
Yeah,
it drew me in.
During his ascension, he like turned like into like a golden light and started to like go up into the sky. And
very Adam Warlock-ish.
Yeah. And there was this figure, like this darkish silhouette of a giant guy in a cape that was bald. So I was like, did this kid just become a watcher? What's happening? I need to know. Tell me. They didn't tell you. You have to wait for the next book.
That's
how you sell copies.
That's story writing.
And that's around the time they go forward a little bit, like a week or something, and everyone's at like a Stark lab place where they're like, I don't know why he had this machine. I guess he's been experimenting on himself too. Stark had this machine that basically put him inside like a computer, I guess. Mm-hmm. very, very strange.
Well, after, that's the whole thing, which I loved how they, gave a nod to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, obviously, Jarvis is the Vision at this point.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 and everything. Yeah. He's upgraded and modified and been working on, over the course of this long period of time, New Ultron.
Basically him.
Him!
He's
Starktron.
He's turning himself into the Vision.
Starktron. Okay, so that's where that ended. So I've got a couple little things here.
Yeah. Before we go any further, read it. Order it.
Oh,
read it.
Yes.
Love it. It is worth getting.
Because it actually is the root, and then here's the branches that come off of...
Yeah, it's setting up for so much.
Everything this summer.
Yeah, the Defenders, they're redoing the Defenders again with the current cast of teammates as the show.
To the point where, like I said, they crisscross everything. The Hydra agent, quote unquote, the girl with the empty briefcase that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The what led James Rhodes to go there in the first place, so he could be at a certain point to volunteer for the Ultimates against Thanos. Who was the one that kind of moved the pieces around so it'd get in Stark's head to invade the Inhumans? Why were the Inhumans there in the first place? Little things. Steve Rogers, people. Steve Rogers. He has been pulling the strings the whole time.
Interesting.
To the point where we have Secret Empire is what's running right now.
Yeah.
We're on issue 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, if you guys have been listening to this, thank you, for one. Number 2, you know what the hell we're talking about.
And you also made it a lot farther than we expected.
And at number 3, you're pushing forward towards the whole Hail Hydra Captain America bullshit.
So that also reminds me of something a theory I heard recently.
Okay.
About, because they're saying this is definitely Steve Rogers. This is definitely Steve Rogers.
Okay.
But what if it's not our Steve Rogers?
That's
what you're leaning towards?
That's what I've read so far. I'm 3 issues into it.
616. But the theory is that he is he is the Captain America from the Ultimate Avengers.
Okay, well, number 1, remember when he was head of S.H.I.E.L.D., director of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, he was an old man.
He had no powers. He lost, the serum was gone and everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, there was an Inhuman called Kobalisk who helped him regenerate.
Yeah.
And do that. But she, unbeknownst, she was under the spell of the Cosmic Cube possessed by the Red Skull.
Yeah.
So he has warped time. He has changed everything with his things. And transferred everything into Kobalisk, which in turn Kobalisk is helping Steve Rogers. Mm-hmm. But once he's back as the Cap that we know, is the whole timeline and the whole history has changed. For him. Not everything around him.
That's a little bit different than the theory, what the theory before any of this, I'm assuming this is stuff you've read.
Yes.
It's in the books.
Yeah.
All right, because before this, the theory was that the Ultimate Avengers Captain America was raised to be a Hydra agent, a Hydra double agent. That was the theory.
That's actually issue 0. Free Comic Book Day a year ago, and it's a flashback of that cosmic cube Cap. That what is implants.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so he took like the memory?
It's an implant. No, it's the Red Skull implanting because he has a cosmic cube. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know.
Just from what I've heard and read, like they have said, oh, it's not like time warping, time manipulation, and brainwashing is all the stuff they've said, like Marvel said out.
Now, see, they've done that. They've kind of had the same level. They're paralleling on the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., except they've used computer, like the Matrix type thing. You plug in and you're in a whole different world. But the comics, they, and this is their backdoor thing. Mm-hmm. So Cap, Hail Hydra, he's been manipulating the whole time. Civil War II, everything, that was all Cap.
Yeah.
Everything. Little things, even to the point where he took Chitauri eggs and he took a queen and buried them so Chitauri could attack. Like this is part of... This is going into Secret Empire.
Yeah.
0. Like this free comic book day, which I had no part of. And he's manipulating things. He's like the puppet master.
Yeah.
And I told you about the... he killed... what's his name? Firing Squad, Hydra. And they're drawing sides. And he's launched 3 different events. The Chitauri attack. The Civil War II that we just talked about. And there's a 3rd one to come. Which we don't know yet.
Yeah.
What we do know as of issue 3 is... Boomerang. I had to look him up myself. I know.
I did not know that there was a Boomerang.
He was
Marvel.
Not even a B character, but kind of a D.
F, E,
yeah,
G.
It's like there's only 26 letters in the alphabet. He might be 27, 28. But he like a henchman for the Sinister Six at one time.
Yeah.
Him and like to the point where at this point him and Black Widow are like teamed up again, kind of Civil Wars where villains and good guys team up to out of desperation. And Black Widow is trying to assassinate Captain America because at this point everybody knows Captain America is Hydra, and Black Widow's trying to kill him. And Boomerang's working with, and he comes into the place and he does a thing, which I don't want to spoil because I want people to buy the comics. Something happens. He gets knocked out. I know I'm being very vague here. He wakes up and there's a bomb strapped to his toilet. He's in his house.
Oh, they leave a weapon to him.
He does, yeah, pretty much. He doesn't know how he got there, but he's laying on the toilet floor and there's like smoke and everything, and he's like dazed. He's fuzzy vision, and he looks up at this guy pointing a rifle in his face in a trench coat, and he can't make out the face, and he's like, "Who are you? What are you doing? Are you not?" And he's like, and the faceless person goes, "It doesn't matter who I am. All you know is punishment is here. Hail Hydra." And then the last panel is... Let me just show you here real quick. Frank Castle has joined Captain America. Look at the logo. Look at the Punisher skull.
Did not see that coming.
I did. The 2 most loyal Captain America people are Frank Castle and... I will give you the other one. On the other hand, there was a certain someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. who saw Captain America for what he was at this time. And he's been following him around. He cloned his cell phone. Captain America has a cell phone these days.
Who doesn't?
I know, right? He keeps a duct tape inside his shield. And he's been following him around, and Cap knows at this point. And he goes to an old Nick Fury safe house.
Yeah.
Because Cap wants to meet him. And they need to talk strategy because here's what's going on. And this certain agent is a big fan, always has been.
Oh, yeah?
And who's there to meet him? Wade Wilson. Puts 9 slugs in his chest, leaves him to bleed out, and then as he walks away, clicks a button and blows the shit out of him. There's no chance that Mr. Phil Coulson is going to survive.
Huh.
Phil Coulson, big Cap fan
Yeah.
in the comics and the movies.
He was the other half of the Hydra Cap?
Phil Coulson and Boomerang died in issue 3 of Secret Empire. And then what they do is like they break away and they're like, Wade, Agent Coulson is on to me. He knows that I took the Chitauri eggs, and he knows that I took the Queen to promote, the invasion on Earth. And he's seen me do stuff. I know he's on to me. I need you to take him out. And the two, if you followed comics, folks, the three biggest Cap fans are Wade Wilson, Deadpool, Frank Castle, as we found out in the first Civil War, and Phil Coulson.
I didn't know that Deadpool was a fan.
He's a huge fan. Like, Deadpool breaks down and actually acts not like Bugs Bunny.
Respectable.
Pretty much. Around Cap? Oh, totally. Yeah. And he put 9 in Coulson's chest and then blew up the safe house as he walked away. So I'm like, wow. So at this point, that's where we are.
I heard, back to my 2 Steve Rogers theory, I'll wrap it up right after this, that there has been confirmation of a second Steve Rogers.
Oh, well, the Defenders...
older, scraggly, bearded Steve Rogers.
That's the thing. Which I didn't mention, in these comics, Steve Rogers, when he took the Chitauri stuff, and he was trying to plan for the invasion, and Civil War, he set up motions, which we just talked about in Civil War II. He did little things where he got all the most powerful and the most, the biggest threats off-world. Mm-hmm. And then he had this thing that he found the thing that one of your favorites, MODOK, put a force field around, like a bubble around Earth, so they couldn't come back in.
Yeah.
So somehow the Defenders are out there. Like, think of every Marvel character that's not involved right now. Mm-hmm. They're out there. But the Defenders, and then what we saw in the alley, or what I saw in the alley, a guy come down, he's very scraggly, looks like, hobo type thing. Like, you need help, man? What are you doing? I'm Steve Rogers. What year is this? What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. So they got a lot of stuff going on. And I'm not going to be able to catch up until they start putting out more trades.
Oh, but dude, come on. It's like, do you think Rhodey, Banner, Coulson?
Killing off...
you and I both know, reading comics, it's like nobody
stays
dead, but it's like, wow, this seems pretty... the way they did these deaths, pretty final.
Yeah. All right. Been a while since we talked about one book to fill a whole podcast.
That was awesome, though. You could tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just podcasts. I love doing this with you, man, because it's like therapy.
Yeah.
And it's so fun, especially like moments like this, where it's like...
I came in with 2 pieces of paper. I was like, this will fill a whole podcast.
Look what I got.
I used one of my notes.
Like a half a page.
Yeah.
We just went off.
All right, so...
It's like, well, we got more material for next week.
Yeah. I think...
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. Can't believe we went on this long.
It's almost like a real Dummies. Except a little more entertaining, Jimmy.
All right, So please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know anything you want us to talk about in the future, what you think about this, and let Sean know when you want your orders brought in.
Yes, please.
Place some orders. This comic is worth getting. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. And as always,
have a day.